Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast for my sins that I bring you each and every day on the upper tier. If you could do me a favour today of all days, drop a subscribe on the channel, hit the bell notification, and of course, like the video. This is like going to confession nearly, you know what I mean? This is just unbelievable. I don't even know where to begin with this. We have gone early. We've gone live about 10 minutes early because I didn't really have to prepare much because words fail me at what I just watched. I didn't even have to stop to think about the player ratings because it's embarrassing. But before we start, Brighton, congratulations. Am I surprised? No, not one bit. We rocked up again, lackluster, didn't give a shit. And I feel really sorry for those Liverpool fans that travel to the Amex in support of this team. We heard our gaffer yesterday in the press conference saying we all got to stick together, and we do. And those fans went there today and stuck together. And that Liverpool team should be ashamed of itself. Absolutely ashamed of itself. And listening to the gaffer yesterday isn't any surprise. You have the gaffer coming out and saying, you know, getting irritated by asking questions about signings. Like we don't deserve answers as fans. And alluding to the fact that there's no money. There's no money. And every time we allude to this, then we get reports out of record revenues and record deals and all these other sponsorships and partnerships and all this kind of stuff. It's absolute nonsense. And then we hear the line that we all want to hear. The line that we all want to hear that just resonates with us so much. Resonates with us so much. The transfer window is not the solution. The transfer window is not the solution. And I have to sit down and I have to spend my afternoon supporting my team as I've done for the last 42, 43 years. And I have to look at guys like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain put on the famous red shirt. And the transfer window is not the solution. Then I have to look at substitutions. We have a young lad in Ben Doak, potentially very good talent, coming on to try and salvage things for us. We have a young lad in Harvey Elliott, who for large portions of this season has had to carry the responsibility of Liverpool Football Club at times. A young lad, the weight of that on his shoulders coming on. I have Fabinho going off and the hologram Naby Keita coming on. The transfer window is not the solution. I have Jordan Henderson going off, our captain, who has become the most quietest captain in the Premier League, with absolutely nothing to say both on and off the pitch. And he gets replaced by Joe Gomez. I couldn't believe the performance in the first half. I just couldn't believe it. It's just so bad. I mean, they came out onto the pitch. They played with anxiety. They played with fear. They played with everything that Liverpool doesn't stand for. They came out. They were cowards to a man. They went down there. They feared Brighton. Liverpool Football Club today rocked up to the Amex, to Brighton and Hove Albion, and feared them. And we were shown up. We were absolutely shown up in that first half. 11 cowards on the pitch. No one wanted to put in a tackle. No one wanted to take responsibility on the pitch. No one wanted to retain possession. No one wanted to play a pass. Every single time we got the ball, we wanted to kick it away. Our midfield was invisible. Absolutely invisible. And again, everything that I'm saying now, I said in the preview, and everything that I'm saying now, none of it is surprising me. None of it. And there's a real cloud over the club at the moment. And if they think that they can walk out of this transfer window with only Cody Gakpo, they're absolutely fooling themselves. We may write the season off because see what's going to happen. And we've said it already this season. This is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. We are going to be knocked out of the cup by Wolves, which might be a good thing because it means we don't have to play Brighton again and get embarrassed. We're potentially going to get absolutely annihilated by Real Madrid over 2 legs to the point where it will be embarrassing. We have injuries coming out of our ears, and it took us 6 months to hire a club doctor. We have 2 guys standing on the sideline, Tweedledum and Tweedledee, Linders and Jurgen Klopp, and they look bewildered and they don't know what to do. And they're fielding players now, some of it through loyalty, players that do not give a damn anymore. In our WhatsApp group, I just want to go into it for a second here because I want to illustrate the feeling out there at the moment. One of the guys in our WhatsApp group, Dean, you'd know him. He's been on the show a number of times, used to do the Shankly sessions with me. He turned around and he said, Klopp is standing on the sideline looking like a bewildered tourist getting robbed. What a way to sum it up. What a way to sum it up. And absolutely spot on. Let's talk about Brighton for a minute, because I think we have to give them all the plaudits today, because they came out. Not only did they come out and perform to a man, but they actually did what everyone thought they was going to do. And they also did what the expectation of their fans was. So they went out, again, no surprise. What the Serbi has done there after Potter left is absolutely incredible. The goals on 46 and 53 for Sully March, a guy I mentioned in the preview how dangerous he is. And what an assist as well by Evan Ferguson. And that second goal from Sully March, what a finish. What a finish. And then to top off today, I'm going to need a drink for this, as if the day couldn't get any more embarrassing. Who pops up with a goal in the 81st minute? Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck. The man who myself and Darren have spoken on this podcast about being the man who is the decoy runner to open up the rest of the pitch for the rest of the players to come into that game in the final third of the pitch. Danny Welbeck gets a goal, and the control was absolutely sublime. Joe Gomez, you should be embarrassed to say that you're a defender for a Liverpool Football Club. You should be embarrassed. And in that first half, Trent Alexander-Arnold, you were absolutely taken apart by Mitoma. You were nowhere to be seen at times. I don't know how many times I shouted at the screen, wondering where you were when Mitoma was on the attack, where you were. And the funny thing about it, and I mentioned it earlier with Joe Gomez coming on, at times in that first half, this is how bad we've got. At times in that first half, I was calling for Joe Gomez to come on. Just let that sink in. Just let that land for a minute. At times in this game, I was calling for Joe Gomez to come on. Now we're facing into a relegation 6-pointer next week against Chelsea at Anfield. And like we've done in the past, and like we've done on many occasions, we'll reinstill the hope in Potter by making an absolute bags of that as well. And Chelsea will rock up as poor as Chelsea are and as poor as we are, they'll probably get the result against us at Anfield next week. And I don't want to hear about VAR. And I don't want to hear about conditions. And I don't want to hear about injuries. Because quite frankly, if you put 11 players on the pitch and they perform the way we did today, we couldn't play a pass. We were scared to hold on to the ball. We never controlled the game at any stage. We didn't do anything in the game at all. There is nothing we can take from that game and bring into training on Monday. It was an embarrassment from 1 to 11. And Mo Salah couldn't even control a ball today. Couldn't even hold up a ball or control a ball today. Cody Gakpo, okay, he missed that opportunity and had one other shot, I think, but was never in the game. It took us 35 minutes, I think, to have our first shot on goal, which skied over the bar. Don Dappa in the comments. I agree with every word, buddy. Cheers, pal. Thanks for coming on as well. Really appreciate you in the chat. But yeah, it's just at the moment, the drop off. I don't think I've ever seen that first half. I'm following Liverpool now, I think, since 1977, 78. I don't think I've ever seen a first half where so many players, if not all the players, reneged on their responsibility, both to the fans and to the club and to themselves. And I don't know where we go from here, because Jude Bellingham is not going to happen. And even if it did happen, it's not going to fix anything, because we are so poor at the moment all over the pitch. And I just don't know where we go. I'm lost for words. I've never seen a drop off from a team in my life. A team that was so competitive last year, chasing a quadruple, to come into this season and beat Man City in a Community Shield, and then to fall on our sword right from the Fulham game, right from the first game. And you know something? This feels worse than Napoli. This feels worse than that Napoli game. Because Napoli are a real good side, and that's no disrespect to Brighton, because Brighton are a real good side as well. But it's the way in which we were beaten. It's the way in which we presented ourselves today. We walked out there riddled with fear, absolutely cowardly in the tackle, no retention of the ball at all. It's just so bad. And then you look at it and you think, I think in our last 35 games, I think the stat is in 21 of those games, or something like that, or 25 of those games, we have fallen behind. So every single time nearly we go out there, we're giving ourselves an uphill struggle. We look all over the place. We don't have any shape. We pick up the ball and there's no options. No one seems to want the ball. No one seems to want to take responsibility for it. No one is vocal on the pitch, you know. And then we're bringing on kids and lads who don't want to be at the club. Naby Keita coming on, doesn't even want to be there. An absolute joke that we have to bring him on. Starting Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who only made a comment there the other day, as far as I know, that he's not sure whether he'll be moving in January or whether he'll be moving in June. Starting for Liverpool Football Club. And we are riddled with problems. We have a manager who is getting frustrated with questions that are being asked. And those questions are rightly so to be asked over and over and over again, till this club and this fan base get some questions answered. And to be coming out and to continually shield FSG with the answers is absolutely shocking. And I don't want to hear about 250 million next summer. I've heard that bullshit the last 3 or 4 summers. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear about, oh, we're going to spend big in the summer and all this kind of stuff. And then we'll buy one player, and then we'll get a loan player, and then we'll get some prospect kid from the championship for 5 or 6 million and stuff like that. And then you have to ask yourself, what's happened to the boy Carvalho? What's he done? What's Carvalho done? Sitting on the bench again today, not used. This is the guy who played against Man City. Got a little bit roughed up in the game, but scored the goal. You know what I mean? And it's just so embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing the way we do things. Where do I start with the player ratings? I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know if I should individually rate them or just turn around and drop a pipe bomb on the team in terms of ratings just across the board, because I don't think anyone stood out today. I thought Harvey, when he came on, brought a bit of energy, but it'd be unfair to rate him. I thought he tried, and I thought it picked up the pace a little bit on our press. Why is it we have to go behind 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 before we start actually pressing ourselves? I was looking at Sanchez with the ball today, and like no one going in on him. And he's playing the ball out to his defence, and no one going in on defence. And we're all standing there looking at Brighton with the ball. They could have stood there with the ball in their defence for as long as they wanted. No one's pressing the ball. Shocking. And this is going to get quite toxic, and this is going to get quite worse. Probably until FSG go, or until they wake up to the fact that, I mean, these are guys, these guys were, they were out the other day parading a baseball player around who they just re-signed, I think, for $275 million. $275 million on a baseball player for the Red Sox. Well, we're sitting over here in little old Liverpool with a third or more of our team sitting on the ER room, and we can't get in players. It just beggars belief. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And to a man today, from back to front, midfield, every one of them. I am not going to give any of them a rating, because none of them even deserve a 1 out of 10. The bare minimum we expect as Liverpool fans. It's not about losing or winning. It's about going out there and giving 110%. And if you lose, you lose, and we'll lose with you. We've done it in the past. We'll do it again in the future. But if you think you can just rock up like that to the Amex or any other stadium with away fans there after paying a serious amount of money to follow you around the country and around Europe, and you think that that performance is acceptable, it's embarrassing. And it's unfair on those fans. And to a man, every one of you owe the fans an apology in relation to that performance. So bad. So there won't be any ratings today, because the scale doesn't allow it. The 1 to 10 doesn't allow it. And someone has to figure out very quickly, we need serious fixing up at the moment. And Jurgen Klopp has a mammoth task there at the moment to fix it. And he needs to figure out himself really what he wants to do and fix it quickly, and stop providing a shield for FSG and fix up real quick. Until next time, folks, this is your match reaction. Brighton 3, Liverpool 0. Next summer FC continues. The saga continues. We will be back, I should say, this week with a preview for the Chelsea game. And boy, Jesus, do we need fixing up before that Chelsea game. Because I tell you one thing, if Chelsea get a result against us, it'll be an all-time new low the way they're playing at the moment. CG, appreciate you in the comments. Thanks. 10 out of 10 for that analysis. Spot on as always. Really, really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. So frustrating, you know, as Liverpool fans. And there's times when we'll accept the loss, and there's times when we'll support them. You know the saying, I love Shanks. He's all around this room if I could show you. You know, and all those different sayings that come out. If you can't support us when we lose, don't support us when we win. That's a very true statement. But the effort on the pitch sometimes has to match the effort that's in the terraces. Until next time, this has been the Shankly Sessions. I am your host, Niall. As always, hit a like on the video on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification. I'll be back with you again real soon. Cheers.